Recreation is more popular in the hills east of San Francisco than ever before. Millions of people travel the trails of the East Bay Regional Park District. Recreationists have their choice of 40 different parks covering 53,000 acres. Some people like the thrill of risky sports, but most recreationists slow-paced, relaxing time. With so many people doing so many different things, safety is a big concern. Things don't always work out the way people plan. Events take people by surprise, and the public's safety is a top priority in the regional park districts. People expect to have safe and comfortable outings. Park staff is devoted to reducing the unexpected hazards of outdoor recreation. A safety focus for all the year means a program responsive to the changing seasons. In these parks, more is being done to assure public safety than meets the eye. Joggers and hikers are the first to enjoy the spring. With 400 roads, creating signs is one of the first safety jobs. Park workers constantly maintain trails and recreation areas. The safety year gets into full swing as the last rains of the wet season drop their life-giving moisture. Spring brings out new and unfamiliar creatures. Safety means learning about and understanding the outdoors. And naturalists help people learn how to take care of themselves in the park.
Here we go. Now come on back. Come back. Remember, we don't want to scare the snake.
Must be a king snake.
Well, you know what this is? This is a gopher snake. Let me put her down. Let her get used to everybody. Okay. Now, I want you to take a look at her head. You're right. What would be the best thing to do if you saw a snake that was all coiled up? What would be the best thing to do?
Get a stick.
Oh, that's right. Leave it alone and go someplace else, right?
The rattlesnake is often pictured as ferocious. In reality, it would be happy to hide and never see a human being. The tongue is simply a way of sensing the environment. Rattlesnakes will rarely be encountered by park visitors, but it is wise to be watchful. Never place your hands in places you cannot see. By the middle of spring, the East Bay Hills are at their greenest. It's allergy time, and grasses and poison oak are the biggest problems. The focus of safety and comfort continues as park workers clear trails and trim back poison oak. But there's a limit to what can be cleared. Every park visitor should learn to recognize poison oak. The leaves come in groups of 3 and are lobed in a manner resembling oak leaves. Poison oak is frequently found along the most popular hiking and jogging trails. By early fall, the leaves take on a reddish color. An East Bay allergy specialist who treats poison oak rash is Dr. Nathan Schultz.
The first factor in avoiding contact with poison oak is recognizing the plant and not walking near it and staying on the paths. And also, a person who's sensitive should wear long pants and long sleeves. I've seen parents who've gotten poison oak just by folding up the children's clothes after they've been out playing in it. The treatment of poison oak depends upon the severity. If it's localized just on part of the arm, you could use some drying lotion like calamine. But if the spread is greater than that, the only really effective therapy is cortisone.
The hot months of summer bring a new safety focus to the East Bay parks. People flock from nearby cities with one thing on their minds: water recreation. Del Val Park is a popular water recreation area. On hot summer weekends, attendance may exceed 10,000 people. Every to the water. Here again, safety is top priority. Regional Parks water safety staff come on the job in the summer. People such as Officer Frank Caruso are trained to advise on water safety and aid people in emergencies.
You got hold of it? Hold of it.
And emergencies do arise.
I killed my engine. Get a hold of it.
Oh, you got here quick, too. Oh, yeah.
Apparently one of the ladies, her hat flew off into the water, and they all reached at the same time. Can't do this in a canoe, it's going to tip over, which it did. So they were all holding on for dear life out there. Keep that life jacket in hand. It's one thing I would say to them, but there's several other things that would go along with it. Go slow, use your boat correctly. But the main thing is the life jacket. Keep it with you. It's your way of staying up on top of the water.
Along with boating safety, swimming safety is another heavy emphasis during the summer months. Lifeguards are skilled at water rescues and undergo constant training. Aquatic specialist Lucy DeLacy.
Lifeguards are involved in extensive training for their jobs with East Bay Regional Park District. We have various requirements that they have to meet to get the job initially. The minimum requirement is that they be certified in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, advanced life-saving, and basic first aid.
Lucy's observations of water-related accidents has caused her to be concerned with people taking unnecessary risks.
I think there's a couple of things that could be a biggest mistake. One would be overestimating your ability when you come in contact with the water, whether you're boating or swimming. Another could be mixing drugs and or alcohol with any kind of aquatic sports. And I think a real big factor could be the third one, and that's if you have children, not watching your children when you're around water, whether you're in a boat or fishing or swimming.
As fall approaches, the hillside grasses dry out and the days become hotter. These hot, dry days with their occasional gusty winds mean fire season. One man worries more than others. Rich Aronson, fire chief for the Park District. He constantly surveys the lands and measures the weather to determine the extent of the fire hazard. That hazard, too. Each year, hundreds of fires blacken the East Bay Hills.
Probably the most critical area in terms of a fire getting away out of open space land is the areas adjacent to cities, specifically from Richmond to Castro Valley and the East Bay Hills. The weather in the East Bay Hills is predominantly fog for a few days and sun for a few days until we get the northeast wind conditions. When we get the northeast wind conditions that bring the hot air out of Sacramento Valley, that's the most critical period. It usually doesn't occur until later in the summer, August through September, November, and that's when everything's had a chance to dry out throughout the summer.
It was such a wind that caused a wildlands fire to rage the East Bay Hills from into Berkeley in December of 1923. 584 homes were totally destroyed.
I'd like to think our fire protection in the East Bay Hills is much better now than it was in 1923. I think that there is a potential for a major fire in the hills because of the brush that's been growing here.
The fire safety program of the Park District involves the cooperation of nearby cities, hillside homeowners, and parkers.
Don't smoke in the open grassland. Smoke only in designated picnic areas or on fire trails. Be careful with your own barbecue pits. When you get through with the charcoal in them, be sure you dump that in a designated area, such as our own barbecue pits. Do not drive your car in the tall grass. The hot exhaust system will start the grass on fire. And generally be careful and be sure if you see smoke to report that to your local fire district.
With millions of people visiting the parks on a year-round basis, it's not surprising that accidents will happen. The Regional Parks District has provided the public with access to emergency services. If you need emergency assistance, seek the nearest phone or look for the green leaf, symbol of the Park District. Park workers are part of a communication system covering 1,000 square miles of park lands.
Control 1.
Emergency calls are routed through the district's communications center.
10-4-801 Johnson, you have a personal injury in the park. Can you give me the location?
The communications center can call on various emergency vehicles.
Attention all units, 2X11 and Eagle. You have a personal injury.
Patrol cars are always in the field. A regional parks helicopter can service remote areas. Fire stations are located throughout the Park District. In an emergency, don't move the victim unnecessarily. Administer essential first aid and send someone for help. If an emergency rescue is in operation, be a gawker. Emergency response is available all year, no matter what the season. It paid off for the Pittman family. 5-year-old David went in the water too deep. Luckily, a passing swimmer felt him on the bottom. David's sister Regina and his father remember that day at Del Val.
We were all laying on the beach, and the kids were in the water. My mom and dad went back to the van to bring it down.
The park was pretty crowded, so I ended up parking the van about a quarter of a mile up the road from the swimming area.
A few seconds later, we heard the lifeguards yelling that everybody get out of the water because it was an emergency, and there was these horns going off and everything. And so half of my brothers came back, and then another one came back, and another, and David never came back. And I looked in the water, and there was nobody there.
I heard that a small boy had been taken in the water, and so I heard his age, and I thought, that's about the age of my boy. And so that's when I began to worry. So I just dropped everything right there on the ground, and the wife kind of stayed there with the things, and I ran down to the area.
And I looked across the beach, and David was already laying down on the sand, and he was already covered up, and he already had the oxygen in his nose, and all the guys, all the lifeguards and rangers were all around him already. They were already taking care of him.
I got down there and I talked to David, and he was scared naturally, but he was doing real well, and the rangers had really taken care of his problem.
Everything was really fast, and they really took care of it good.
Their quick action really saved David's life.
A lucky boy. The East Bay Parkland, a gentle environment with few hazards. A place for safe outings for millions of people, whatever the season. Regional park staff as concerned about public safety as the countless visitors who explore these lands each year.